Hello, everyone. Welcome to our tutorial about leveraging the NLP for radiology imaging analysis. So, before starting my tutorial, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the tutorial about leveraging the clinical notes for radiology imaging analysis. So, in the recent 10 or 5 years, deep learning has been shown very impressive performance on the medical imaging data analysis. However, the performance of these deep learning models depends on the availability of the large-scale, high-quality labeled medical imaging datasets. For example, here we show some different types of medical imaging examples. For example, we have the brain imaging, we have the cardiovascular imaging and chest CT and chest X-ray, and we also have the pathology images. So far, lots of public available medical imaging datasets focusing especially on the brain imaging. For example, there are a lot of available brain imaging datasets. This one is called ADNI. So ADNI is like a very large-scale dataset focusing on the Alzheimer's disease diagnosis. And this one is another one is also very popular. It's called Autism Brain Imaging Data Exchange (ABIDE), which is also a very large-scale brain imaging datasets for the autism diagnosis. And besides that, we also have the ABCD dataset, which is a large-scale dataset for focusing on adolescent brain development. And another large-scale dataset available is for UK Biobank. UK Biobank is also including a lot of like Alzheimer's disease brain imaging. And besides that, it also including a lot of like chest X-ray and chest CT. So besides the brain imaging, other large-scale medical imaging datasets, like focusing on the chest and abdominal, most popular one are these three datasets, chest X-ray datasets. First one is NIH chest X-ray, which is the first released for diagnosis of these different lung disease, different chest disease using the chest X-ray image. So they have released 14 labels and follow the NIH chest X-ray. There are two datasets which called mimic chest X-ray and Stanford chest X-ray. So these two datasets are also following similar format and pipeline like the NIH chest X-ray. So and besides the chest X-ray, another very large-scale available dataset is called deep lesion. So deep lesion is also recently released back into 2018. So this dataset is very large-scale and was also focusing on different types of lesion, especially in focusing on the chest area and abdominal area. So besides this dataset, actually. Instead of only have the CT and chest and X-ray. The modality is just CT and X-ray. So actually, in radiology imaging, another modality, the MRI is also very popular because as we show example here, for example, we have we have X-ray, CT, and MRI of a banana. So if you look into this image, you can say like CT compared to X-ray shows more details in the inner structure of this banana, and the MRI shows more fine-grained structure details of the banana. So especially MRI are very important diagnosis imaging used for the detail for observing the detailed structures relevant to different disease. So just compare the MRI to CT or X-ray. So far, a lot of public available datasets focusing on the brain MRI, but very limited datasets focusing on the body MRI. And actually, usually CT images are when the patient's taking a CT scan in the hospital, they're usually focusing more on the large range and with less details. And when the patient is taking an MRI scan, usually we're targeting a small areas and with more details. So in one sentence, it's like a MRI shows a body MRI usually shows a strong deformation because of this changing in the of the different organs in the body and in abdomen and chest, and also it has more complicated pathologies and more complicated anatomies. So in our recent work, actually besides the CT and chest and X-ray, we're actually working on creating some large-scale MRI datasets, focusing on different types of lesion. Especially this MRI will be focused, besides the brain MRI, especially this MRI will be focusing on the chest and also abdominal parts. Just back into deep learning work. So most of deep learning that requires the dataset to having high quality labels. So usually these experts sitting there to labeling this image to assign pixel level mask and assign these labels. Actually, this is very hard to it's very hard to connecting such kind of large scale data if we require the expert to labeling that due to the expensive cost and also time expensive cost. So so one idea is like since we will having like in the hospital we will usually having the MRI scan, and we also will having the clinical reports written by the radiologists or physicians describing the information seen from the images. For example, here we show examples of an MRI scan, and then here we also show the clinical reports associated with this MRI scan. So it basically says this is hyper intense, and this is a lymph node. So, and besides that, in this report, also having a coordinates of 4 points from the response evaluation criteria in the solid tumors. Basically, they have been created the 4 points which shows the large dimension and the longest dimension and the shortest dimension of the lesion. So based on this clinical reports, our ideas, instead of like asking the expert to labeling image, we want to creating the automatically labeling, automatic labels from the clinical reports, and use this to do different tasks of the MRI-based diagnosis, like the lesion detection, lesion labeling, and lesion detection, lesion labeling, and lesion segmentation automatically from this clinic notes constructed labels. So just show this example. Actually, if we want expert to labeling this, it's very time consuming because we need to asking them to draw this contour and also to assign different types of disease labels. So, but if we since we have this 4 coordinates which measures the dimension of this lesion at different dimension of the lesion, like longest dimension and shortest dimension. So we can generate some mask actually based on these 4 points automatically, and to generate some like generate some labels for the image. So our idea is like how we can extract the image labels from the clinical reports. So firstly, we will focusing on the small data sets which only focusing on the lymph node detection. So for example, this is the reports, and this is actually the label we extracted. So this label is basically describing the different subtypes of the lymph node relevant to this image. And besides that, we also have these 4 points. We can also generating this mask based on this location of 4 points by using like graph cats. So in our work, we were working close. We're working close with radiologists and physicians to help us to extracting the labels. So we firstly we firstly selected some high frequency. We firstly, after pre-processing the clinic notes, we selected some high frequency keywords, and then from this high frequency keywords, we send these keywords to the radiologist and asking them to select the most important keywords. And after that, based on their selected keywords, we design a rule-based keyword and rule-based label extraction methods from the reports to extracting the labels. So here, in this small data set, we actually extracted these different types of lymph node labels. And after we extracted labels, as we say that in these reports, besides these labels, we're also having this RECIST, which measures the dimension of the roughly dimension of this lesion. For example, measures the longest dimension and shortest dimension of lesions. So based on this measurement, we will also using the GraphCAD to generating some saddle mask. So, and based on the saddle mask, we also just based on this roughly saddle mask, we propose a global local attention networks with multi-task uncertainty loss to training a model which is able to doing the segmenting and detecting these lesions. So here's this is the proposed methods based on the extracted labels. So the input of this is a CT scan, and we have used different backbones to extract the features. So in our work, we're just trying to use the ResNet 101 to extract the features. And then we just follow a Mas-Carlsen framework. So we extracted the different regions of feature maps. And for the different regions, we having the classification loss. Basically, this classification loss was will predict the labels for the lesion, and the regression bounding box will predict the roughly bounding box. And for the segmentation map, we have multiple attentions because the RECIST bookmark generated saddle mask are not very accurate masks. So we having this multiple attentions weights to improving to adding more uncertainty on our trained model to make our model more robust to different testing case. So we have compared our results for different two different baseline models. For example, we have several baseline models: ULO, V3, phosphorus, and Mas-Carlsen, and also the detection RS and the casucate RC, and we have two models. So first model is trained with the saddle mask and the bounding box generated by the RECIST, and second model is just trained with the RECIST, which is only for detection results. So when we compare our results to all these models, we show like by using this multi-scale attention uncertainties, our models can improve a lot compared to the several state-of-art methods. And here I will also show some like detecting results. So the yellow box are the ground truths, the green box are the predicted one. So and besides this in segmentation and detection, actually we further trying to do something to leveraging also the knowledge graph or autonomy graph, predefined knowledge graph and autonomy graph to improving the lesion classification results actually. So this is a autonomy graph generated by the radiologist, which shows the different relationships between the different subtypes of lymph node. So so to further improving our results, we propose the methods to leveraging different modalities. So first, we have in MRI images, we were using the backbone and CNN to extract the features, and then we do disease label pooling for the features to extract the different lesions label, different lesions image features. And then we also, since we also have the clinic loads, so we can training the for different labels for different labels, we can also training label encodings based on the clinical loads, measure the similarity between the different labels. And based on these images features, we will construct it to different graph to modeling their modeling their relationships. And besides that, we also will we will extracting the knowledge graph and ontology graph and combine all these graphs to dynamic learn intrinsic graph structure, and using this graph to predict the final lymph node labels. So we have compared our results for to the to several baseline models. So we have actually our model, we have two types of in our model we have two types of models. First one is GCN with the graph structure learning and knowledge graph, and second is we also use hyper GCN, hypergraph convolution neural networks. We call it hyper GCN, and with structure learning and knowledge graphs. So we compare to several baselines and show like our model, by leveraging this knowledge graph, we can improving the performance significantly, which also shows the importance of using the predefined knowledge graph, especially for medical imaging classification task. So so far the first part we're showing is just a small data sets focusing on the lymph node detection. So actually, we are current work. We also are trying to perform the similar task to construct a universal lesion extraction on the MRI dataset. So our work will also similarly will automatically extracting the lesion labels from the MRI clinic reports, and we also will constructing the ontology or knowledge graph for lesion pathology, region, and attributes. So for this universal lesion extraction, the structure of label is actually more complicated compared to the lymph node detection. So here we show some examples. So this is the MRI scan, and then with the RECIST, which is measuring the lattice dimension of this lesion, and the clinical report shows like and in this work we defined this labels, three types of labels. The first types of label is called pathology. And second label is called region. Region basically measures the location of this lesion, measures like the body parts. And then we also have another types of labels which called characters. So characters measures like the different attributes of this lesion. So this is also for extracting these labels. We also first extracting some keywords based on and then sending these keywords to the radiologists and the physicians, and they will selecting the most important keywords, and then based on their selected keywords, we design a rule-based methods to apply to these reports to extracting these keywords. So this is another one, which the clinical report shows like and we're also extracting the labels. Pathology is complex crest, and region shows left kidney. And this is another one. This is another. And this is another case, which we have in the region is abdominal wall, and the character is enhancement. So and this is another case, which shows is like the pathology label is also complex crest, and region is kidney lower pole, and the character is hyperintensity. So in this universal lesion detection dataset, we're actually extracting much more labels compared to the lymph node detection. So here's table shows the overall labels we extracted. So we having all these different pathology labels. So for the lesion, we having these labels, and for the lymph node, we having these following labels, and for region labels, we having the different types of regions. Most of focusing on the kidney and liver, and for character labels, we have selected these following character labels. And our next work is we will try to constructing ontology and knowledge graph for lesion pathology and region and character, and from this clinical notes. And also we also want to leverage in the biomedical literatures and existing medical knowledge graphs to make a more comprehensive knowledge graph for us to use. Sorry. So actually, besides extracting the labels from the clinic notes and use it to supervise the image task like segmentation on image classification task. We also are currently working on the medical imaging captioning, like the automatic generation of medical reports from the radiology images. So far, we're first starting working on the chest X-ray. So basically, the input is a chest X-ray image, and output will be the clinic notes. So here's one example shows the chest X-ray and its clinic notes. So we propose a model. We propose a model basically modified from the transformer for chest X-ray report generation. So firstly, for the chest X-ray images, we will using the backbone CNN to extract the features. And then because the chest X-ray images usually they will have multiple labels. So for each label, we will learn we were using transformer layers to learn an embedded features from the extracted CNN features. And then from extracted CNN features, we're using a multiple state multi-head attention to further learn the attention between the different labels. And then based on this latent labels attention models, we will go to transformer decoder layers to output the report. So in this label state multi-head attention, we will learn a latent label embedding layers to encoding the different relationships between these labels and their label associated uncertainties. So so here's some results. Shows we have evaluated our results on two datasets. One is OpenEye datasets focusing on general chest X-ray relevant disease, and another is public available CoVOD datasets. So here's the input image, and this is the predicted clinic notes, and this last row is the reference, which shows which can be considered some sort of ground truth for the for the clinic notes captioning. So if we have highlighted the keywords, extract the keywords which shows which can be used to compare the two different clinic notes, the generated clinic notes and the reference clinic notes. So in the future work, we will also further improving this work back to the CT and MRI clinical notes generation, and I think that's the most powerful of my tutorials. So, and also I want to add some information that in our lab, actually, we have the PhD position available. So the research direction will be on try to learning the visual and semantic representation for the medical imaging. And also how a second research direction will be medical imaging, visual question and answer. And the third research direction in my lab is to do the 3D reconstruction from medical spectral imaging and multi-sensor data. Especially currently we're working on the thermal imaging 3D reconstruction and also millimeter wave radar sensor data segment, the 3D sensor data, basic object detection and object segmentation task. So if you're interested, please contact with my email. And thanks for everyone's time. And I'm ready to take some questions.